Oh, it just started raining. Nice. You know, the Indians have a kind of a phrase they say, which is time pass. Time passing. And it's more than just saying it. It's a kind of an embodiment. You know, I think in the West maybe we would take that. You know, it's lazy. Alan Watts said something like that. He said people think I'm being lazy, but I'm just being patient. I think the Indian way of saying is something like that. You can't actually try and be patient. You'll never get there. You gotta be patient. That is just too funny. And an Indian is, you know, sort of the embodiment of patience. I guess it just comes with the culture somehow. It's all as one sort of thing, and it just sort of happens. And funnily enough, you know, what I usually, like some people say, you know, why do you, you know, what have you learned? Like, why India? Or, you know, what has drawn you there for so long? And I will say that. I mean, that is the biggest sort of thing I've learned from being in India. Boa tarde, boa noite. Até já. Vais comer? Oh. Yeah, India has taught me patience. I mean, and it's not something I set out to try to learn. I didn't sort of know what it was going to happen. It's not just India though. It's a lot of things with it. You know, like being on a motorcycle. But forget the motorcycle. It really is India. With or without the motorcycle, it will show you a side of existence that you are not in control of. And it does it in a way that is so different, you know, than sort of how, I don't know, if you're from the West, maybe how you grew up, how you grew, that, yeah, there's something funny about it. You gotta either submit yourself or get out. You know, it's like that. Another thing they say is, and this is in English, but they say, it's like that only. I love that. It's like that only. When they say that to us, we always laugh a little bit because of how sort of, what is the word I'm looking for? Not generic, general, like generalized, abstract, is it maybe? What is the word I'm looking for? Yeah, sort of vague, I guess is what, it's like that only. Okay. I really learned, it kind of hit me quite a few times in the north of India, when I was motorcycling through little villages and big cities. And one time I remember being in this little village in the middle of nowhere. This guy, I stopped and he was talking to me, and I was like, so what you got? He's just like, yeah. And they would say, no agenda, no agenda, you know, instead of this time passing, they would, you know, no agenda. And he was just in this little village with nothing to do, but still, you know, you're thinking, as a Westerner, you'd be going crazy. You'd be like, gotta do something, gotta do something, gotta do something, need to do something. He's just like, no, no, I'm here. What are you talking about? That was another one in Nepal when I was. I won't go into the whole story of that, but I was in little villages, and when I was there, I was running, and I'd be out on a trail going up a little, going up a mountain, and there'd be like a group of 10, 15 hikers all in a line, and one of them would say, one of them did actually say, but this has happened to me many times, but this one was particularly special, I thought, because I was like, I am definitely here, And it's just like he said, what are you training for? I missed that part. I did the punchline before the info, before the build up. Yeah, he said, what are you training for? And I said, I'm here. This is it. I'm doing it. I don't train in general. That would have been sort of unnecessary to say. It's a little bit too complicated about that. What do you mean? But I'm here. Look at where we are, bro. Is pretty. Is not really debatable in a way. Like, right, that's right. I am here, But the way that they were doing it, when they were, these people, they would try to hike the Annapurna Circuit in 14 days, and that is, that's a drag. You think, how can you make being in the Annapurna Circuit a drag? Well, that's a good way to do it. It's not guaranteed, but my plan, I won't get into it. Anyway, the whole point of this I was actually thinking I was going to talk about, here the way I'll lead into it. I love that show on YouTube, Kill Tony, which I think he's got a new one on Netflix, a new episode. Crazy, man. This guy is just, what a unicorn of a situation that guy got in. That show is very controversial, definitely, but sort of the leading thing is, just kind of being honest, authentic and honest, and so he will often ask in the interview portion after they do their 60 seconds try of comedy. They'll have a little interview, and he'll often ask them, he'll say, because everybody, it's not a secret that trying to become a comedian doesn't pay very well. So he'll ask, he'll say, so what do you do for money? Right? And I like that. It goes with the show, and it's like, okay, yeah, everybody needs to make money, and we're all trying, and a lot of people are unemployed, and they're giving bad answers. They're living in rooms with people that. The key to answering that question is to just answer it honestly. You might be boring, but just be honest, whatever it is, and that's okay. So I was thinking about that with this, and here I am. If I am going to post all these videos, and maybe someone is going to even see it, maybe somebody buys a bag. Who knows? I don't know. But how do you make money? I personally, if you have a business, obviously you don't need to tell people. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to make money with bags. Whatever else is my business. You don't need to know about it. But this is not work. This is my life. It's like I really don't separate them. So what do I do? Is more of the kind of the question is, what do you do? We've, in a way, we've gotten so desensitized to words that we use like that. Work is not a drag. It's not supposed to be a drag. It's supposed to be doing something, making something, thinking of something, helping with something, fixing something, doing something. You're not supposed to be it's like, and I get it. It is a drag. So for a lot of people, it can be a very drag. But it can also be a means to an ends, and you can try. You can try. If you give up, then you might as well maybe kill yourself. Why not? The moral of that story is why don't give up? There's no real reason to, give up exactly, unless you're just in this pain that's, like I've already mentioned in another video. But yeah, if you're in pain all the time and there's no end in sight and there's seemingly no way to come out of it, why? At the very minimum of what I could say is that it's definitely up to you what you do, right? What you should or shouldn't do is sort of irrelevant. But if and I think, well, what if I was in a situation that was so horrible? Well, I got when my other testicle decided to grow a tumor. I decided that was the end. So I was like, well, if I'm gonna lose my other ball, and I'm gonna have to go through all this nonsense again. I'd rather just, instead of doing that, I would rather ride this out without doing that. Basically, is what what it boils down to. Is like, I'm gonna ride this I'm not gonna do that. So even if you were doing something that you hated and you were just like, fuck this, I'm leaving and I'm done and I'll figure it out. It's crazy how complicated it gets so quickly, because you can have kids. If you have kids, and what's your responsibilities like and all this. Yeah. And if you have kids and you kill yourself for selfish reasons, I think if you have kids, your life is probably already complicated enough where it isn't as cut and dry as that usually. It's not like so, it can be bleak, and maybe you do, but, something is, your friends and family, people need to step in and maybe have a chat with you, like, let's try together. But if you're on your own and there's no responsibility otherwise, then yeah, I think that's okay. And again, the moral of the story is don't give up, right? Like, it's about being okay with death, but at the same time, you don't have to try to die. You're going to die already. So if you don't want to do it, just stop eating, So yeah. So that's what I did. When the other testicle grew a tumor, I felt it, of course. I remember, I was actually out camping. I was like, God, man, this is the truth, because I'd been feeling it and, sort of saying basically, no, bro, maybe not. It's not it. But then at some point, it's undeniable that this is happening. And, I did. I was like, okay, this was during COVID. I was like, it's just not worth it. I need to just be okay with that sometimes things have to come to an end. And can you say that was stupid thinking, or would I choose the same thing again? In my situation, I would, and it's kind of worked out twice this way. I guess this is to do with family and listening, but this when this happened like this, and I kept it to myself. I didn't burden anybody else with it. They were already going through enough with what was happening. And this would have just been too, unnecessary, I think. And turns out, I mean, that's where I was about to go with that, is that it was unnecessary. I didn't need to stress out about it, because the way it ended up going worked. I mean, it worked. And not only did it work, and I will say, yes, luck. It is lucky. It is luck. What is luck? I don't know. What is luck? Randomness happening. The old Chinese farmer who says maybe. I think it's like that, really. You know, take it as you will, but things change. And that's great that things change. But be aware of that things don't stay the same all the time, always. Even you. So, it ended up working out better, I think. Maybe Elsa would, maybe. I wonder, I'll have to ask her exactly that question. Because you could say, yeah, I would do it differently. I would have gone and got help earlier. I would, you would have told me, and then we would have gone here in Portugal and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's hard, because in hindsight, you could say, no, I wouldn't do it differently. It worked out perfectly. That's a tricky one. I would say definitely I would do it the same way. There's no doubt. It was so easy to deal with in India. I don't know. I mean, and there's definitely something to say about being stress-free. I mean, if I would have given that, told people, for sure it would have stressed them out. Definitely. There's no doubt about that. But for me, it didn't. So in a way, it's like, it is a hard choice, because if you weren't okay with it, and I mean, yes, you can be okay with it for the wrong reasons, I guess, as well. You could be like, I don't have the money, or I don't want to deal with it. I'd rather just not think about it. That would, I mean, God, that is also a tricky one, because who's to say anybody isn't doing that when they don't face something difficult because of, cowardice, basically. You can say that about it. I mean, why not? The person is avoiding death, or avoiding something that is difficult to, to eventually something will be better, in the name of it's too much of a hassle. Yeah, in fact, a friend of mine, an Indian guy who I met in northern India, freaking PK, amazing dude, such a unique guy. And how did he go out? Well, he had a little motorcycle accident with his girlfriend one time, and he hurt his, God, this is, he hurt his leg. He got infected. He didn't go to the hospital. He got sepsis. Yeah, he died. He could have lived. Knowing him, Elsa thinks, oh, he was so stupid. That was not the move. And I don't know. I knew him quite good. I had seen him, and we had a lot of conversations. But more importantly, I had shared space with him for some time, and he was not into not into having to live. He wasn't. I mean, he was just sort of being. No things. I like how that's I mean, you know, nothing and no things. Pretty good. All right, I'm actually, I'm done with this. I need to pull it through. I'm a little shaky. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. And I've had coffee. That's for sure. Can you still see this? Yeah. Right now I only have a box in here. It is a little weighted, but I normally will have 3 of these weights. So that, what would that be? About 3.5 kg, 3.8 kgs. I might even have 4 of those. And because I do not, I don't prefer that it moves when I'm working. I like it to be, I want it to be weighted. I want to be able to move it, shift it, but I don't want it to move if I'm just sewing. I want it to be steady. All right. So there we go. There is the, God, I already do both of them. Look at that. That's crazy. I totally forgot that I already did the other side. That's pretty awesome. Wow. I'm going to be very proud about this, you know, because again, this is the first bag like this I've made to order for Elsa. So I'm going to be very proud. Probably going to take 10,000 pictures with her using it. So I'm sure she's going to be excited about that. She really doesn't like to be photographed. When she she doesn't like it. You know, she gets awkward in the camera. Funnily enough, she's very photogenic, but is not good at. If someone else is taking photos of her, it doesn't work. She's very she's conscious about that, and I'm the same way. I'm not photogenic actually, and I don't like it. So there's that. She's actually very photogenic, but she still doesn't like it. Which I guess works out. I'm thirsty. I need some water. Okay, so all right, so we got the back. We got the back on both sides. So we still have, okay, and we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've done 5 seams, and we've got, let's see. So we got 1, 2, 3. So 3 only main seams to go. Right. Wow. There you go. That's pretty cool. So I can definitely get done with that today. And then, I mean, once you get the main seams done, you can flip it out. So I think I will actually be 1, 2, 3. Wow, that's awesome. This one's going to take a little bit of preparation. I do have the webbing already in here, but I just need to, I think it's even a little crooked. I can already see. I want it to try to be straight as possible. So it's funny, you know, this is the outside of the bag, and this is the inside. I'm not going to tell her about that, see if she notices. She'll notice eventually, probably, but it's not an easy one to notice because you wouldn't think about it basically. So you wouldn't be thinking about that. Anyway, the front is still loose, so I need to do it. All right. Oh, I didn't even get into what I was actually even gonna say. So I'll have to try again. All right.